Hello everybody, this is a one-take unscripted video that's going on YouTube, warts and all, so if I forget to mention anything that I wanted to, or if I say anything wrongly in this video, I will put some notes in the description below to put that right. I should also point out that this is not a full review of this handheld radio. It's simply going to cover the half a dozen or so questions that went through my mind when I saw this radio advertised for the first time. This is a Wouxun KG-UV8G for golf. It's only available at the time of recording, which is the 19th of November 2020, from Martin Lynch Sons in the UK, and indeed it was watching their Something for the Weekend video that I saw this and bought it on impulse. I'll put a link to that video in the description field below, but after watching that video I had a few questions, and I wonder if some people watching this might have wondered the same things, so I hope this video will be useful. I assume that this is a reasonably representative sample of the KG-UV8G, although as ever your mileage may vary. For example, this is a handheld from one of the first batches, so Martin Lynch Sons included a programming cable. If you're buying this months or years later, then you may well not get a programming cable, for example. So the first thing I wondered about was the battery. The battery that comes supplied with it is rated at 3200 milliamp hours, and it's heavy enough for that to be plausible. I don't think it's a rating that some manufacturer has pulled out of thin air in the way that some aftermarket battery manufacturers have been known to on eBay, for example. The weight of it makes me think it is as rated, but 3200 is quite high for a standard supplied battery, so that makes me wonder if perhaps because this is one of the first batches, Martin Lynch have provided a beefier battery than they will be doing in months and years to come. But anyway, my first question was, I've got a couple of UV8Ds. Are the batteries compatible? In my right hand is the supplied battery with the UV8D, and you can probably see straight away the terminals for that are on the top. The terminals for the 8G aren't. So my first question, can I use batteries for my UV8Ds with this? Short answer is no. The next question I wondered about was the SMA socket on top of the radio. Both of my UV8Ds have a female socket, and I was half expecting this to have one as well, but it's not. It's the male socket with the pin on top of the radio. The supplied antenna does have, you probably can't see that, but it does have the frequencies that it covers written on it. So 66 to 88 megs and 136 to 174. That's very handy, because if you own quite a few other handhelds and if you swap antennas sometimes, if it didn't have that written on it, it might be possible that you could accidentally stick this on top of a 2 meter 70 centimeter radio, but it is marked on there. The antenna length, well, it's longer than the helically wound antenna that used to be supplied with the Wouxun 699 Echo, but even so, this is still only 40 centimeters long, so well under a quarter of a wavelength on the 4 meter band. I assume it's resonant, but I wouldn't expect a coverage of more than, say, a couple of miles using this antenna, so I would really recommend connecting a dipole, a Slim Jim, or an aftermarket antenna designed specifically for the 4 meter band. Next thing I wondered, is this radio unlocked? Because every Wouxun I've ever had every model has always been completely unlocked, not limited just to the amateur bands? And the answer is yes, it is. The disadvantage of that is you need to be even more careful than usual that you don't accidentally transmit on frequencies you shouldn't. So for example, if you wanted to use this to listen to the VHF Marine band, you would have to be very careful not to accidentally press the push to talk switch on the side there. This is a very robust and well made feeling radio. There's nothing cheap about this at all, by the way. I would say it's particularly nicely made, even by Wouxun standards. The advantage of it being unlocked is that if you take it to a country where the band limitations are slightly different to the UK, then you can still use it. So for example, if you went to America, you would be able to transmit on the calling channel out there, 146.520, and that would work fine. America's probably a bad example though, because they don't have the 4 metre band out there, but you catch my drift anyway, I'm quite sure. So the next thing I wondered about was power. I've read or seen somewhere that this radio can put out quite decent levels of power. I've fully charged the battery, this one, and connected it to my power meter. Now I am dubious that the power meter is very highly calibrated or correct, but just to give you an idea, on high power out of this it measured 8.5 watts on both 4 meters and 2 meters, and for the test I used the respective calling channels, so 70.450 and 145.500 for 4 meters and 2 meters. On medium power I got 4.5 watts on the 4 meter band and 3 watts on 2 meters, and on low power I got 2 watts on the 4 meter band and only 300 milliwatts on 2 meters. Now that does seem surprisingly low, so I'm rather dubious about that. Having said that, I think most people who buy this radio will be buying it for the 4 meter band first and foremost, so I'm not too worried about the 2 meter readings. So 8.5 watts on high power, which is more than is put out by the KG-699 Echo, the 4 meter monoband model that came out a few years ago. Last but not least, programming. I'm not planning to program this radio. I'm going to use it most of all on 4 meters, and for that I will use it in free running VFO mode. It's not yet supported on chirp. I see that a request has gone in from somebody to make it compatible with chirp, but at the time of recording I don't know if that is going to happen or when it will happen, if indeed it does. And last but not least, unlike the 8D, the screen doesn't become unreadable after the backlight fades down. There is a really nice setting on here where you can choose between about half a dozen colour schemes, and it looks really nice. So if you're colourblind, or if you have a visual impairment that stops you reading or seeing LCD screens on handhelds very easily, then this could be a very nice option for you to have. Okay, the video's gone a bit longer than I was intending, 9 minutes, so thank you for watching. As I say, this wasn't intended to be a thorough review of all the radio's features. I'm sure that as the weeks and months go by, somebody else or other people will do videos like that and probably do them to a better standard than I could, but I hope it's helpful. Oh yeah, and one other final thing with the charger, and needless to say the charger is different to the chargers for other Wouxun models. You do get a nice moulded UK plug. It's not one of these where you get a 2-prong job and a dodgy deathdaptor, as Big Clive would say, so that's definitely a bonus. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope this video has been useful.